My 36F husband 33 meters has completely lost interest in our marriage for FFXIV. I left, he didn't even notice. What now? Story 2. My 36F husband 33 meters has completely lost interest in our marriage for FFXIV. I left, he didn't even notice. What now? This is probably a tale as old as Atari. When my husband and I met, we had a lot of things in common. As time went on and our lives shifted and changed, his interests changed. We've been together 9 years, married 6. We both work average office jobs, 40 hours a week. He started to get into this game, FFXIV. He is obsessed with it. From the moment he gets up on the weekends, to when he gets home from work. He plays the game. He talks to people about the game. He reads about the game. We all need hobbies, but he's completely abandoned any of the things that we did together. Hiking, jogging together, art nights, board games, bar trivia, etc. I'll try to get him to come with me to bar trivia with our friends, and he just wants to stay home to play the game. I invite him for a hike and he just wants to relax that day. We've had time 5 times this year. Each time I had to initiate. I've tried to initiate dozens of other times, try to pull him to bed, he will just come to bed, cuddle, check that I'm asleep, and go back to play his game. I'm not interested in playing video games beyond a game like Candy Crush, so me joining him would just be me being completely disinterested, confused, lost, or annoyed. The last time I talked to him about this, I told him that I was lonely in our marriage and felt neglected. He told me that I was putting too much pressure on him. That he needed time to unwind from work. He will sit on the couch next to me at night while there's Parks and Rec or something in the background. Just not interact with me at all. And call it couples time. He says this is how adults do it. It's not like in the movies. When I pressed for date night, he was quiet and didn't have much to talk about, and in the car while I was driving home, instead of interacting with me, he just pulled out his phone to get on Discord and talk to people about his game. I tried to initiate time, and he kissed me on the forehead, said good night, and left to go play the game. I cried for a little while. I packed my things and left to spend a week with my family. When I got back, it was almost like I just walked back into the room exactly as I'd left it. Nothing had changed. He was in the same spot as when I left. I asked him if he'd even noticed I was gone, and he said no, not really. I stared at him and he just said, look, I don't know what you want from me. I'm allowed to have time to myself. He kept pressing that it's normal for adults to do their own thing. I said yeah, but we need to do things together too. He kept saying I put too much pressure on him, and if I want to do something with him so badly, to give him something more interesting or important than his game. I said, so intimacy with your wife is not as important or interesting as your game? He said no and basically asked any one of my friends and they'd agree they'd prefer to stay up playing the game than cutesy cuddling and sweet talking with their wives. I didn't even know what to say. I'm dumbfounded now. Part of me is wondering if I just don't have a realistic view of relationships. It's good to have alone time. I have my alone time as well. But it feels like he's my roommate now, not my husband. Before anyone brings up depression or anxiety, I've asked him about it. He doesn't believe it's related to either, and instead thinks that he's just changed and has different priorities to what he had before. Do I have next steps here, or is it time for me to just pack up and leave for good? I'm not happy. I don't think he is the person I initially fell in love with. I think his wife is FFXIV now, and to be honest, my self-esteem has slipped. To be less interesting or compelling than pixels on a screen. Ouch. Update: my 36F husband 33 meters has completely lost interest in our marriage and real life and is obsessed with a video game. I took some of the advice given to me by commenters and went looking through his phone and through his computer to see what I could find. Unfortunately, some of you who commented and me were correct. My husband has been cheating on me. From what I could tell, there were multiple accounts on Discord that he would be up all day and night talking to and estimating with. It was disgusting. There were pictures, written out estimating, the whole mess. There were screenshots of his characters doing S-timul things with other characters in the game. I got records of everything, screenshots, etc. I did something that you will all have my head for, unfortunately, and decided that if he was going to defile our marriage and disrespect me, I'll do the same thing back. I took my kettlebell and redacted his gaming laptop, grabbed all of his gaming things, and put them in a container. When he got home from a work meeting, I was waiting for him with the box and asked him to sit down. I told him that I was going to give him a chance to tell me anything he wanted to tell me. He just stared at me dumbly. I said, "There is nothing you want to tell me? Nothing at all?" He said no. So I said, "Well, I found out what you've been doing on that game of yours." His face didn't change. I think he was trying to call my bluff. I got up and said, "This box is for you, and I want you in this box out of here by the end of the day." He said, "What? What are you talking about? What do you mean?" I told him that effective immediately our relationship was over, I would be contacting a divorce attorney the next day, and he can come back to get the rest of his things, but that he would not be staying here. I said that I have to leave the room because I'm so disgusted that the sight of you makes me want to throw up. He was just shocked, and then after I went into the bedroom I heard him yelling all kinds of things, sobbing, and "What did you do? How could you do this? Oh my God," and sobbing like a ducking baby. Honestly, it felt good. If there was a worse way I could have hurt him, I would have done that. He wasn't crying because he was upset about his actions. No, he was crying because he couldn't jump right on and continue playing his game. Boo-hoo, his little cartoon side pieces had to wait. Well, to spare you the rest of the play-by-play, he got his things, I contacted a divorce attorney, I changed the locks, and I shared exactly what happened on FB, where all his family and some of his friends are. I will be okay. I'm heartbroken because I really thought he was a good man, but I was wrong. He's a ducking loser who likes to S-time other women and have S-time with cartoon characters on a monitor. Well, he's free to do that without me. So just let that be a lesson to any other people out there whose marriage seems it's in a rough spot, whose partner is obsessed with this Final Fantasy game. You should check. Listen to your gut. Or people on Reddit. Lol. Redditors' reactions. Redditor 1, yikes. I had an old fiancé who did this. His WoW addiction was so bad he stole my credit card, maxed it out, and hid the evidence till after he decided that since I couldn't pay coddle him, he took off. Fastest weight loss ever. Redditor 2, oof. Honestly, I can't really blame Ook for destroying her ex's laptop and games. It's not a good or mature move, but everyone's got a breaking point. Asshole X found out what happens when you push someone that far. I hope Ook is in a much better place now with someone who actually appreciates them. Redditor follow-up, agreed. When I found out my ex was cheating, not just once but with several different women all at the same time, I went nuts and smashed his laptop and cell phone, where he stored all the pics of them doing naked things together in our driveway. I also smashed the big bottle of tequila he'd been hiding under our bed. He blamed drinking, not his own conscious decisions, for all of his infidelities. It was 100% wrong to do, but in that moment I didn't have logical brain. I had hurt brain. An angry brain sometimes gangs up with hurt brain, and the two of them kinda ignore what's right and go into Hulk mode. Redditor 3, when I played WoW for a couple of years, I knew a couple of guys who lost long-term relationships, including a fiancé, because of the game. In their case, it was just flat-out addiction as far as I know. When I met my now wife, I knew that I couldn't maintain a healthy relationship and do an MMO. Weaned myself off over a couple of months, been married for over 10 years. Redditor follow-up, I recently broke it off with my partner of 4 years in part because of this. When we met, he was on a WoW break, and about 6 months in, asked if I minded if he went back to raiding once a week. Not understanding what this would entail, and wanting to be the chill girlfriend, I said yes. It just escalated from there to if he was awake and in the house, WoW was open. Couldn't do anything on raid nights. Couldn't do anything on other nights because he was grinding for stuff. Couldn't talk in the house because he was a guild officer and was on Discord all the time. By the time I really pushed back, it was too late, and as he made it clear, he'd been playing Warcraft longer than I'd been alive. Not much you can do to compete with that. Redditor 4, poor woman, I'll never understand why people don't ducking break you. Oh, why cheat? Most cowardly AMD childish thing a human can do. Redditor follow up, because they want to have their cake and eat it too. Living with her, she was contributing to the household both financially and otherwise, cooking, cleaning, etc. Oops, said it herself. He was treating her like a roommate. The situation suited him just fine and he didn't care enough about her to be honest. So why go through the effort of a breakup? That's how people like that think. Redditor 5, sounds like the other side of a green text. What a guy. Yikes.